Hey, third grade. I am so excited to do a math video with you today. We are going to spend our time talking a little bit about fractions and some comparing with fractions. But I have a question for you before we get started. Do you know what a landmark is? A landmark is something that you always know where it is. Like it always stays in the same place. So I want you to think about some landmarks in Culpeper, in our town. For example, our school is a landmark. All right? We know where it is. It's not moving. You can close your eyes and think about it in your mind and you can picture it and you know exactly where it is. Another landmark in Culpeper that I thought about, and this one may sound a little bit funny, but is Walmart. We've all been there. You can even right now, wherever you're watching this video, you can close your eyes and think about the Culpeper Walmart, and you know exactly where it is. Another landmark here might be the park, Yowl Meadow Park. Um, Maybe you can close your eyes and you can think about when you drive by the park. It's always there. You can see those kids on skateboards. You can see people out maybe playing in the fields or on the playground or on the walking track. Those are what landmarks are. In fractions, we also have landmarks, but I'm going to change the word. Instead of landmark, it's a benchmark. Okay? So with fractions, we have benchmarks, and those are parts of fractions that I want you to know where they are all the time. The benchmark numbers in fractions are 0, 1/2, and 1/2. That's what we're going to spend our time focused on today, comparing with some of our benchmark fractions. So let me switch over to my document camera. We'll get started. So like I told you, with a landmark, you always know where it is. Oh, let me get something down here in front of this document camera so that it will focus. I see that it's a little bit blurry, but there we go. That's better. Okay, so with our benchmark fractions, it's just like landmarks. I want you to be able to picture where these benchmark numbers are whenever you think about a fraction. So the ones that we're going to spend our time talking about today, like I said, are 0, 1/2, and 1/2. So here I have a number line right here in front of me for us to use. I want to label those three parts on the number line. Right here I have 0. Right here I have what would be 1/2. So half is right in the middle. 1/2. Got it? So these are let me write the word for you, bench mark fractions or numbers. Okay? What we're going to do today is look at some fractions and do some comparing. Now, when I say comparing, there are some things that should come to mind. Some signs, maybe. This one, less than. And remember, I may have told you this before if I haven't. The way I always remember less than is that it points to the left, and less and left both start with L. That helps me remember less than. So if I've shown you less than, you know what's coming next. Greater than, yep. And then this one too, equal to. You got it. So we're going to look at some models, some fraction models, and put them with our benchmark fractions. Our main focus today, though, is going to be on this fraction, on half. We're going to spend our time really focusing on that benchmark fraction. So let me ask you another question. What happens right in the middle of the age that you are? So I think most of you start third grade and you come in as an 8-year-old, and somewhere in the middle of third grade you turn 9. But you are an age that I know most of you like to say when you are in the middle of 8 and 9. You're not quite 8, you're past it. You haven't reached 9 yet. So what age do you say that you are? You're 8.5. That's where that half is, in the middle of your age. So we use that benchmark fraction even when we talk every day, and sometimes we don't even realize it. Let me switch over to a sheet I want us to use where we are going to do a little bit of a sort. Okay? So look at this sheet I have right here. I have a blank because we're going to look at pictures, and we're going to decide if the picture is less than a half, if it is equal to 1/2, or if it's greater than 1/2. And I'm going to put my number line back up here. When we look at fraction models, there are definitely different models that we use, like a number line model. We're going to use some of those today. Sometimes we use an area model, which is a picture of a shape that's shaded in. And then sometimes we use a set model. A set model is a set of objects, and we look at the shaded part of the set. All right, so let's start doing our sort, where we can think about our benchmark fractions, 0, half, and 1. What's it closer to? But in our comparing, we're going to determine, is the amount less than half? Is it equal to half? Or is it greater than half? So let's get started. So with each fraction, we're going to look at the picture. I'm not saying that this one is half. This is just the one where I'm starting with first. So let's start with the picture. First of all, I want to determine what my denominator is. Can you already tell where you think this picture should go, where this fraction model should go? I can. I want you to count the pieces with me so we can determine the denominator. You ready? I'm going to start right here with this first shaded piece. I made a little dot. You can kind of see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 total pieces. How many pieces are shaded? 3. So this fraction is 3/10. Remember, I'm thinking of my benchmarks, 0, 1/2, and 1. Where is 3/10? Is it less than a half? Is it equal to half? Or is it greater than 1/2? Can you see if I use my marker? If it was half, it would be half of the circle, and it definitely is not. So it's less than. So that's where this picture would go. And I know that 3/10 is less than half. Let's do another one. All right, this one, it kind of looks tricky. When I look at it, I think, ooh, that looks like half. But then I look at it a little bit closer and I can see what? Can you see that it is a little bit greater than half? I'm going to start here. There's my little dot. I know you can see it very faintly, but let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's ninths. This circle is split into 9 equal pieces. And how many of them are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/9. Is it equal to half? Is it greater than half? Is it less than half? Well, I know if I were to draw a line like I did before in half of this circle, it would go about right there. Can you see that line? Can you see that this is a little bit more than half? So where should it go in my sort? You're right. It's greater than half. 5/9 is greater than half. What about this one? This is my number line model. I know it's teeny tiny, but I really like this picture. I can see a 0 one benchmark number, and there's a 1 right there, I can look and see that half of this is shaded. But let's look at the fraction too. Remember, when you were looking at fractions on a number line, you don't count the lines, you count the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is sixths. How many sixths are there? Can you see that 1, 2, 3 are shaded? So this model is 3/6, and it lets me know that 3/6 is equal to 1/2. All right, let's keep going. We're going to pick it up a little bit because now I think you've got it. All right, here we go. Here's my fraction model. I see that one piece is shaded. How many pieces total do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see that that's less than half? I can. And if I made my line right there, showing you what half of the circle would be, I can see that I have way less than half. So 1/6 is less than half. All right, now we have a fraction of a set. Remember, I want to focus on the one that is shaded. Does anybody know this fraction right away? Well, it's thirds because there are 3 objects in our set. How many are shaded? 1. Remember, if I looked at half, I would have to cut that house in half. But it's less than half. 1/3 is less than half. All right, here is another number line. Now look, I know that this is hard to see. We talked about that before. I have a 0 and I have a 1. I want to count all my pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's tenths. That means the whole is split into 10 equal pieces. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7. Now, what would half of this be? Can you think of the fraction in tenths that's equal to half? It would actually be right here in my model. So I can see that 7/10 is greater than half. What would be equal to half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/10 would be equal. But this is 7/10, and it is greater than half. Oh my goodness, I love this. Here's thirds. Again, I know it's thirds because my whole is split into 3 equal pieces. I have 2 of them. Where does it belong on my sort? Is it equal to half? Is it less than half? Or is it greater than half? I always like to make a line so I can help visualize like where half would be. If I cut this circle in half, it would be like that. This would be half. But do you see I have a little bit more on each side? So it's greater than half. What about this number line? What's the denominator? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's split into 4 equal pieces. Of the 4 pieces, I have 1. Is 1/4 less than a half, equal to a half, or greater? Well, I know if I was visualizing that half is right there. This is less than a half. So it belongs right there. All right, I have another set. I am running out of space on my sort page for us to look at these benchmark fractions. So look at my picture down here. This is perfect for this time of year. I have how many trees? There are 6 of them. How many are shaded? That's the number that will be my numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 6 are shaded, so it's 5/6. Is 5/6? Is it less than a half? Is it half of the trees, or is it greater than half? You're right. It is more than half of the trees. That's what's shaded. Let's do a couple more. Let's do 2 more. What about this? Can you see right away where this one should belong? I should just slide it up right there, shouldn't I? Can you see that half of the circle is shaded? Half of this area model? But let's see what the fraction is. How many pieces? I'll start counting right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What's half of 12? 6. That's how many pieces are shaded. 6/12 is equal to 1/2. All right, let's look at one more. Here we go. I have one more number line. I got to determine my denominator by figuring out how many pieces I have. Remember, count all the spaces, not the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8. Of the 8, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/8. I know it's kind of hard to see that fraction right there, but is 6/8 less than 1/2, equal to 1/2, or greater than 1/2? Yeah, exactly. It's greater. Good job, 3rd grade. Let's do one more activity with this as we compare our fractions to benchmark fractions and really thinking about, is it none? Is it 0? Is it 1/2? Or is it 1? Is it close to the whole? All right, let's look at one last thing. I'm going to slide this up and slide some other pictures down. So this is kind of a multiple choice question, but I really want us to look. So I need to figure out, of the pictures I'm going to show you, which one is less than 1/2. Let's talk about these 3 pictures. What do you notice about this one? Do you notice that it's the whole thing? It's all the pieces. So this picture is equal to 1 whole. Would that be less than 1/2? No way. That'd be greater than 1/2. What about this one? Can you see that it's thirds? I can see that line is a little bit hard to see. Sorry about that. Let me see if this will help. It might be a super huge glare, but I'll put that right there. Now we can see it a little bit better. I want to know, is this the one? Would 2/3 be less than 1/2? Remember, if I make my image, if I imagine it in my brain that there's a line right there, I can see that this is 1/2 and a little bit more, so that's not less than 1/2. Let's look at this one. It is 2/5. That's the fraction, 2/5. If I was going to split this number line model in half, this linear model in half, I think 1/2 would be about right there. This amount is less than 1/2, so 2/5 is the one that fits this one. 2/5 is less than 1/2. Let's look and find the model that would be equal to 1/2. Is there one you can get rid of right away? Sorry about that glare. We're almost done. Yeah, I think it's this one. I can totally tell that this is not equal to 1/2. This is less than 1/2. 1/2 on this model would be about right here. This is definitely less than 1/2. It doesn't answer this question. Now this one, I really wanted us to focus on this. This looks really close to 1/2. This looks really close to 1/2. Which one is correct? Let's look at this number line. I'm going to figure out what my fraction is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How many pieces are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 6/11ths. So if 6 out of the 11 are shaded, then that means 5 out of the 11 are not shaded. Is that 1/2? Is 6 and 5, is that split right in half? No, it's not. So this one is a little bit greater. The shaded part is a little bit greater than 1/2. So this one doesn't equal 1/2. It looks like it, but we have to look closely and do our math to determine, is it equal to this landmark fraction? And it's not. All right, but let's look at this one. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. And how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my fraction is 5/10. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. 5 is half of 10. So it is equal to 1/2. This is the one that would complete this. number sentence. All right, last one. We have to find what's greater than 1/2. I'm going to slide this down right here, but I'm going to keep that light on because I want you to be able to see the lines. So look, I want a portion that is greater than 1/2. If I look at the two circles, look at this line. What can you tell me about this model right here? It's exactly equal to 1/2. If I look at this model and make a line, is it equal to half? Is it more than half? What's shaded is less than half. So this one doesn't work either. But let's check out this set model with the set of stars. How many total stars do I have? 4, right? How many are shaded? 1, 2, 3. So this fraction is 3/4. 3 out of 4 are shaded. Now, if I wanted to split this set in half, I'd split it right here. 2 are shaded on this side, and then 1 more. So I'm showing a portion that is more than half, greater than half. So 3/4 is my fraction that completes this number sentence. All right, third grade. I know that fractions can be a bear sometimes, but I want you to remember they're super fun. I want you to think about always the benchmark fractions. I want you to think about 0, or the benchmark numbers. I want you to think about 0. I want you to think about 1/2. I want you to think about 1/2, and where the fractions that you are working with fall. Is it between 0 and 1/2? Is it between 1/2 and 1/2? Is it equal to 1/2? We will continue practicing with this. Hang in there. You're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you, and I look forward to doing another math video with you really soon.